the I-864 Affidavit of Support. For thousands of applicants, this financial document is the single biggest hurdle standing between them and a green card. It's a leading cause of requests for evidence and outright denials. Today, we are doing a 10-minute masterclass. We will expose every major pitfall so you can file with confidence. Let's begin. Our first section covers the absolute foundation, your income, and how it's measured against the federal poverty guidelines. Get this wrong, and nothing else matters. The core rule is that your household income must be at least 125% of the federal poverty guideline for your household size, not 100%. For military members on active duty, the threshold is 100%, but for everyone else, it is 125%. These numbers are published by USCIS on Form I-864P. It is critical that you use the guidelines in effect on the date you file. Using last month's or last year's chart is an automatic failure. Always check for the latest version before you mail your application. Now let's talk about household size. This number is the denominator in your all-important income calculation, and it's more complex than you think. Your household includes yourself, your spouse, any unmarried children under 21, the intending immigrant, and any other dependents you claim on your tax return. It also includes any other immigrants you've sponsored on a previous I-864 who haven't yet become citizens or earned 40 quarters of work. A common mistake is forgetting to include a parent or relative listed as a dependent on your taxes, even if they don't live with you. If they're on your tax return, they're in your household count for the I-864. Period. Section 3 is a critical distinction that trips up so many applicants: the difference between your historical income and your current income. While you must submit your most recent federal tax return, the number that truly matters to USCIS is your current individual annual income. If you earned a lot last year but were laid off last month, you do not qualify based on your old income. Your current situation is what's being evaluated. This is why you must provide evidence of current income. This includes 6 months of recent pay stubs and a letter from your employer verifying your position, salary, and permanence. Don't just rely on the tax return. What if your income isn't enough? That brings us to Section 4, using assets to meet the financial requirements. To use assets, you must first calculate your income shortfall. The value of your assets must be a multiple of the shortfall. It's typically 5 times the shortfall, but there's a key exception. If the sponsor is a U.S. citizen and the immigrant is their spouse or child, the multiplier is only 3. The assets must be significant and convertible to cash within 1 year without extreme hardship. Think cash in the bank, stocks, mutual funds, or the net value of real estate. You will need bank statements, brokerage statements, and a professional appraisal for any property. Let's move to a non-financial, but equally critical requirement: the sponsor's domicile. This is a major issue for expats. The law requires that the sponsor's principal residence is in the United States. If you are a U.S. citizen living and working in Dubai, you cannot sponsor a relative for a green card unless you can prove you are taking concrete steps to reestablish domicile in the U.S. Concrete steps means more than just having a U.S. bank account. It means you've secured a job in the U.S., found a place to live, registered your kids in school, or have otherwise demonstrated your intent to move back on or before the immigrant arrives. You must provide this proof with the I-864. If you can't meet the requirements alone, you may need a joint sponsor. This is where many relationships get tested. A joint sponsor isn't just a reference. They are signing a legally enforceable contract with the U.S. government. They must independently meet 125% of the poverty guidelines for their own household size, plus the intending immigrant. They are just as liable as the main sponsor until the obligation ends. Before asking a friend or family member, you must have them read the I-864 instructions. They need to understand that they can be sued by the government or the immigrant for financial support if necessary. This is a serious, long-term commitment. Finally, let's talk about the paperwork itself. You can do all the math right, but if your documentation is incomplete, you will get an RFE. There are 2 ways to prove your tax history. Option 1 is a photocopy of your tax return. Option 2, which USCIS prefers, is an IRS tax transcript. Transcripts are free to download from the IRS website and are less likely to be rejected because they prove what was actually processed. If you choose to submit a copy of your return, you must include every schedule. If line 10 of your 1040 shows business income, you must attach Schedule C. If you sold stock, you must attach Schedule D. Missing a single page can cause a rejection. Furthermore, you must attach all W-2s and 1099s. Even if you use a transcript, it is best practice to include your W-2s to prove your current employment status matches your tax history. Do not leave any room for doubt. And all your evidence must be consistent. Your employer letter should state the same salary that's reflected on your pay stubs. Your bank statements must show the same name as your I-864. Any inconsistency is a red flag. Navigating the I-864 is a detailed process, but by avoiding these 7 traps, you put yourself in the strongest possible position for approval. Take your time, double-check your math, and gather every document. For ImmigrFlow, I'm Sophia. If you need a professional review of your financial documents before you file, visit our website at immigraflow.us. We're here to help.